Listen. You smell something?
Onto your butt.
The battle of wits has begun.
Take your
Life,
sicking paws off me,
finds a way.
damn dirty ape!
Hello there.
This is Sparta!
You're a wizard.
Yes, they deserve this. I hope they burn in hell!
Take a big step back and literally
Fuck your own face!
Do or do not. There is no try.
Beetlejuice.
You ever dance with the devil in the bed?
I'm your huckleberry.
Beetlejuice.
Thinking what I'm thinking, bro.
Hallelujah!
Aim for the bushes.
Holy shit!
That doesn't make sense.
Where's the
I
Tylenol?
believe the common denominator of the universe is not harmony, but chaos, hostility, and murder.
Welcome, nerds and nerdsettes, to our first episode of Pop Culture Kick. We are here to make sure you guys get kicked in the head with all your pop culture news and information and our damn opinions on the movies. Keith, Mark, welcome to the show.
What's going on, guys?
My name is Nick, and here we go. Keith, why don't you tell us what we're doing first?
All right, so this episode we're going to be doing 3 top movies.
Yeah, I did. So I did my 3 biggest disappointments, movies I was excited for. And then I was going to touch on how big this deal is with Microsoft buying Activision and Blizzard.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably got a couple of ones that I was excited for and all that stuff. Haven't really watched a whole lot of movies.
That's fine. And then we can talk about stuff that we're excited for, this year. Because this year, 2022 is packed with movies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because they're, finally able to get back with some semblance of production.
Oh, yeah, I think, and we can touch on that when we get to that part. But, I think Spider-Man No Way Home opened the floodgates.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody got their lists up?
Yeah.
Mark, you good?
Yeah.
All right, Nick, what do you have for your top movie?
My top movie of 2021, it was tough for me to pick, really, which one. But I chose Spider-Man No Way Home. And mostly because, and you'll see my number 2 once I get to it. And number 3 is kind of obvious for me if you know who I am. Spider-Man No Way Home for me was it was fun, man. It was so much fun. Hey, Keith, did you see it? Or Mark, did either of you guys see it?
I actually haven't seen any of the new Spider-Man movies.
Oh, dude, you are missing out.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Oh my God, the one before that with Mysterio. Oh, when they brought in like the Marvel zombie Iron Man.
Yeah.
But this one, Spider-Man No Way Home, it was just a damn good movie. I mean, it was fun. It brought the Marvel and Sony universe together. I mean, it was amazing.
That's what I heard. It kind of melded even the Tobey Maguire one, right? It melded all of them together.
Yeah, it's the opening of the multiverse. So if you've been following the Flash movie that's coming out this year with Michael Keaton's Batman joining the whole Zack Snyder's
I heard about universe,
that. It's the same type of thing. They're opening up their own multiverse. So in this movie, they're sitting there, and you don't know who the characters are, right? Because you haven't seen them. But Ned essentially gets Doctor Strange's, spoiler alerts, Doctor Strange's ring, and he's opening a portal, and he's like, "Show me Spider-Man, show me Peter Parker." They're trying to find their friend, right? Because something tragic just happened, and when they do it, you're looking at someone, you're like, that's not really his body style. Like he's this guy's like tall and lanky, and sure as shit, it's Andrew Garfield walking through the portal, and not Tom Holland. And dude, Mark, did you see it in the theater?
Yeah. Is that one of those cheering moments in the theater?
Oh
Everybody
my God.
just takes a gasp.
Dude, everyone jumped up and was like screaming and yelling. What about you, Mark?
No, everybody was pretty respectful. I watched it in Alamo Drafthouse, so.
Different atmosphere. Yeah, no, this was, everyone just, we went and saw it opening day. And so it erupted. People were like grabbing the person's arm next to them and shaking them and like screaming like, "Oh my God, they did it!"
Yeah.
Like And it's true, man. Keith, when you go through and watch these movies and you get to that part and you see it and you realize what they've done, they've taken the last series and the series before. So we've gone through 3 reboots of Spider-Man with different characters, different actors, different stories, and they united all of them together.
Yeah.
It
was really well done.
It was amazing. I saw it twice in the theater. I mean, they did that, and then they do it again, right? He's like, well, that's not my Peter Parker. Hold on, let me do this again. Maybe I can get the other one.
Yeah.
They do it again. Boom, in walks freaking Tobey Maguire. What'd they call him? Youth pastor Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
Because he's
older.
He's not wearing the Spider-Man outfit. He's older. He's wearing like a cardigan sweater thing or something. Like he walks in and he's like, "Oh, hello. I'm looking for your Peter Parker." And the theater erupts again. And that whole gag thing where with Ned's like mom or aunt or grandma, whoever was there, is like, hey, she walks in while Andy Garfield's like up on the roof proving that he's Spider-Man. And she's like, "Can you get those cobwebs in the corner? I can't reach them." He's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
All right, Mark, what do you got? What's your top?
Oh, so Spider-Man No Way Home actually is my top as well.
How about Mark? How about that part? That justification that Andrew Garfield got, that closure with the falling.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, that scene.
Mary Jane for Jay. Not Mary Jane.
Oh my god. Yeah, and like he's got the tears in his eyes. He's crying because he's like, "I got you," because he couldn't. That was like what was so dramatic in his movie. Oh man, that scene was just, it was good. Telling you, Keith, if it's on my top list and Mark's top list, like I didn't think Mark would have put that as his top. It's telling you something how big that movie is and how good it was. It's the best one. It's probably my favorite Spider-Man now. And before, it was Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2 was my favorite of the Spider-Man movies. But this one probably took it. It had everything in it.
Okay. So here's one that you guys probably aren't going to realize it actually came out in 2021. This is my top. Zack Snyder's Justice League.
So that's funny.
I thought that came out years ago.
Well, it was the Snyder cut that came out.
Yeah, it was
Zack. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
It's his 4-hour masterpiece. So that's actually my
that was my top.
That's my number 3 actually. For that. It again, that movie.
That was the movie that we all wanted.
I didn't see the theatrical version of it either. I wasn't interested in the Justice League.
Good. Don't. I actually got rid of the DVD. Like I was just like, nope, gone.
The Joss Whedon one?
Yeah, it was so bad. This version of it, Mark, have you seen the Zack Snyder one?
Like I said, I haven't seen any of it. I'm not. The DCU hasn't been as good as the MCU, so not wasting my money on it.
So I watched the Joss Whedon one, and I'd say within the first 20 minutes I turned it off because it was just everywhere.
It was bad. The colors looked bad. The CG just didn't look right.
The story, I couldn't follow it. It was just jumping over and over.
Zack Snyder's cut is art. It's a freaking masterpiece. Like, and all the critics were like, "Holy shit! Why didn't we get this? Who made the bright idea at Warner Brothers to put freaking Buffy the Vampire Slayer in charge of freaking Justice League?"
No, I mean, look, argument for Joss Whedon. He did direct the original Avengers movie.
The Avengers, yeah. I mean, he knew about it, and you can tell he was trying to take the dark, gritty.
We're not
DCU.
I'm not going to talk bad about Joss Whedon or Zack Snyder as far as directors. They both have different styles.
Well, Joss Whedon just committed career suicide with that Time or New York Times or whatever he did. He just did an interview, and oh my God, was it bad?
Well, they were talking
was so bad.
They were talking about his how he runs his sets and about verbal and emotional abuse and stuff like that with actors and crew.
Yeah, and he tried to justify it, and the way he says it was Where was his PR person to be like, all right, stop,
Yeah.
turn it off, record on this? Like,
what was her name? The one that played in Angel, Charisma Carpenter. I think she was
Yeah.
one of the ones that was very verbal about Joss Whedon and the way he treated her.
Gal Gadot did. She straight up went to HR for Warner Brothers,
Yeah.
and she's like, no. She's like, she wants this dude to just like fall on top of me in this scene, and it doesn't make any sense and brings nothing to it, and I'm not comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And he's yelling at me, telling me, "Oh, well, you just don't understand English good enough for what I'm trying to tell you." Like, oh my god, it was. Either way, we're not here to talk about that. That he already did enough damage.
Well, I mean, we can.
But
That's part of. I mean, that's part of the pop culture stuff.
Yeah,
is what's
that's
going
true.
on
I mean,
in the culture around making movies and music and video games and stuff like that. So that's relevant.
yeah.
But we can
Alright,
talk.
yeah, I mean,
we can talk more at length after we get our lists.
I was watching Kevin Smith or listening to his podcast, and he was talking about it, and he brought up a really good point. He said, because part of in that interview and part of the stuff that's come out from his writers is how mean and degrading he was to them.
Yeah.
He would call them stupid in front of all of their peers and tell them that their ideas were dumb. And
yeah,
Kevin Smith brought up a really good point. He said, "Look, these people are here trying to bring your vision to life. They are writing your show. You need to give them some respect.
Yeah.
They're hired to take the stuff out of your brain and put it onto film.
Yeah, exactly.
And you cannot treat people that way, especially people that are working for you and trying to make you look good."
Yeah, make you look good,
So
and at the end of the day, all that advertising,
you make all the money.
that advertising money that he's getting, all of those people are putting in the work for that. So we appreciate that.
Exactly. You can't treat people that way. Like that's so one of the big things with this Justice League is a massive one that was like uniform across the board.
Yeah.
Was that all of them came back to film scenes willingly and eagerly and happily for this Justice League.
Yeah.
But they would not. They all said that if it was Warner Brothers asking them to come back to redo it for Joss Whedon, not a single one of them would have showed back up, and they would have never came.
Yeah.
It was because of Zack Snyder.
That says something.
Yeah.
It's because they all love Zack Snyder and the way he treats them.
Yeah.
He treats them all with respect and people. And we've heard that across all of his movies. Gerard Butler loved them in 300.
Yeah.
The Watchmen cast loved him. That shows, he cares about the people. And it's a big difference. And you can tell the quality of the movies are very different.
Yeah. Right.
But, Mark, you got to watch. Even if you don't like the other ones, this one, you don't have to do all 4 hours at once. They have them broken up into like 4 chapters if you want to do it that way. But I watched it back to back. That's how good it was. I spent almost 9 hours watching this because it just, and Keith, I'm sure you agree. I mean, it's beautiful. It's the best comic book movie like I've seen.
Well, I feel like the only problem, the issue that I have with the DCU is that they're trying to shoehorn too much into their films. They're trying to copy off of the Microsoft blueprint for the MCU. Not Microsoft, but Marvel blueprint for the MCU. And
they're trying to play catch up with as few movies as they can.
Yeah. And that's why
that's
why it doesn't work for me, because these movies are too damn long to begin with, and they're trying to introduce too many heroes and too many villains all at once. Marvel played the long game.
I will say with the Justice League, Zack Snyder's cut, it has to be 4 hours long.
Yeah, if you would have done a 2-hour cut of that, you would never have gotten it's just like the Joss Whedon one. You don't understand what's going on. There's no context.
Yeah,
there's no.
I get that. They could have broken that up into multiple films instead of making it like one giant 4-hour film.
It was actually going to be a trilogy. And when Joss Whedon's one came out and bombed in the theater, Warner Brothers canceled the second one. They said, no, that's it. We're done. We're going to make our Flash, our Aquaman. We'll go with all these other ones for now.
Yeah, so they're trying to, they're trying. Yeah, so what they did was they went back and they looked at the Marvel formula, and they're like, let's introduce these characters first in their own films, then bring them together.
Something else that happened after Justice League, another big DC film that was a standalone, not part of the series, not connected to anything else, and made over $1 billion was Joker.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Warner Brothers is like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe why don't we just tell a really good story?
Yeah.
One movie, not connected. We don't have to have a connected universe.
Yeah.
Let's do that. And that's what Robert Pattinson's The Batman is, right? That is, it's a trilogy. He's making a trilogy, but it's not part of the multiverse that's coming up with the Flash.
Yeah.
His characters will not be in it. I don't care if we got 3 different Batmans, as long as you got the stories that make sense, right? This Flash movie is going in back, and it's going to retcon so many things coming up. That's just going to change it all. Back to the Zack Snyder one, it is absolutely worth it. It is such a good movie, and they do so well with it. And he leaves it open. There's like 2 after credit scenes or 2 scenes at the end of the movie that you're like, damn, I really want more of this. Like, once you watch it, you're like,
yeah, right. Didn't they have like a Black Adam teaser with The Rock or something in it? I'd heard about that in one of those movies.
Well, yeah, and that's coming out this year. That's coming out 2022.
Yeah.
And that, that's something that The Rock has been, he's been working and championing that for years, trying to get that made. So, but yeah, Keith, I agree. Zack Snyder, Justice League, it's such a good movie. It makes just talking about it makes me want to go watch it right now. It's that good.
Nick's gonna go watch it and fap after the podcast.
Probably doing it already.
Bad flick.
Bat flick.
All right, what else you got?
Well, hold on. We're talking about Batman. Who's your favorite Batman?
You asking me?
Either of you. So I've got 2. Who's your favorite Bruce Wayne and who's your favorite Batman? Let's put it that way.
Okay.
That makes it easier because I don't think a single one of them has done both of them amazing.
Right.
But I have a favorite Batman and I have a favorite Bruce Wayne.
All right, you want to go, Keith, first?
Yeah, I'm gonna say favorite Bruce Wayne was Christian Bale. I liked his sarcasm, his snarkiness.
When he jumps in the fountain and all that with all the arm candy.
Yeah. Favorite Batman, I'd have to go Michael Keaton.
Okay. What about you, Mark?
I'm gonna go with Michael Keaton as my favorite Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
And Val Kilmer.
Which one?
You're something happened.
George Clooney is like a close second because of that nipples.
I have Michael Keaton as my Bruce Wayne. He's just very like that party scene, in the 1989 one.
Yeah.
He's walking around and, nobody knows who he is because they don't see him. And he's just walking around joking with people. He's like, oh, man, the guy that owns this place must be a dick. Right? So I agree with that one. But my Batman, I love Ben Affleck's Batman. To me, his Batman is less stiff. I guess I'll put it that way. Like when he's doing like the spins and he's using the cape to like, sweep in people's faces to give him an extra second while he's punching someone else, and just the stuff that he does, like he climbs up the wall and then dives down on him, and the action of that Batman to me was really good.
I don't know, because I kind of disagree with the way that they treated Batman in that, where he's going through there with the machine gun. I think, wasn't that a dream though? The machine gun part.
Yeah, he never used the gun.
That's the nightmare Batman.
Right.
But he does come blasting through in Batman vs Superman with the machine guns on the Batmobile.
Okay.
And stuff. And I mean, he takes no prisoners in that one. He's branding. He's heating up the Batarang and like branding the bad guys that he catches and stuff. So it was a much more violent kind of Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns style where he's just had enough.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm tired of slapping these guys. I'm gonna beat them till they don't be bad anymore.
I don't know. I mean, and I think Val Kilmer's Batman was also seriously underrated.
That's like my guilty pleasure Batman movie. is
Forever.
Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Like it's just silly, it's stupid, but it's just enough. Like they all just kind of tick those boxes evenly, and it just I love it. I love that movie, but and we got to think. Remember, Batman Returns. Batman's like barbecuing people with the Batmobile in that opening scene. he's straight up like burning them, like turning the Batmobile around and setting them on fire.
Yeah.
He's sticking dynamite to their chests and blowing them up. So it's not the first time we've seen, Batman get too heavy-handed, but
Yeah.
so those are my picks. We can have a whole episode talking about our favorite Jokers and Batmans and all that.
Oh yeah.
So all right, go ahead. Have we all done our number ones? Yes, Spider-Man, Justice League, right?
Yeah, let's go top two of the movies, then we'll go to a different topic.
Yeah, well, so I'll go first on my number two. My number two is Dune.
I didn't see it.
Oh God, man, this movie.
You said Dune, right?
Yeah, this movie is just epic. You think of like Ben-Hur, right, in the movie theaters, back in the, whatever, 60s, 70s, and it was so big they had to extend movie theaters to be able to watch it, like extend the screens. Like this movie feels like that. It's epic. The cinematography in this movie is on point. Like I'm just looking at it and it's just beautiful. It's gorgeous all the way through. And I don't know if you guys have read the books, or if you've seen the original movie.
It's not the original.
That's my basis of it, is the original. So
With Sting and all that. Yeah. So this one,
yeah. So how does it compare?
it's right up there, man. The only difference is like Harkonnen isn't as grotesque.
Mhm.
Skarsgård, which I can't remember, the dad. I
Yeah.
can't remember his name.
Stellan.
Yeah. Yeah, Stellan. I think he does such a good job as Harkonnen, and all of them, man. The casting was on point, the acting was amazing, the scenery.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Oscar Isaac.
Dude,
The guy's a
yes,
phenomenal actor.
yeah, and he, like his Duke Atreides was just, man, dude, all of them. That whole movie was just so good and beautiful. Like I said, that is a work of art, is what that movie is, and I cannot wait for the second part to come out.
Let's check. Let's actually check the box office. Let's see how well it did. Google this real quick. Okay, so worldwide it made almost 400 million, grossing, and this is on all releases.
And it was dropped day one on HBO Max.
So I'm sure that they account for the views on HBO Max. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they do or not. This may be just theatrical. Domestically in the United States, it made like 107 million.
Yeah.
Off of, I'm not sure if it's going to show me. Yeah,
107 million.
Yeah, 107 million.
Yeah, that came out at the end of 2021.
Yeah.
Theaters were still not really open yet.
I'm not sure what the budget was on that. I don't know if Box Office Mojo is going to show me the budget.
I got a feeling they paid a lot more than 107 million to make it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it was, yeah, that movie was expensive. You could tell just by the look of it. I mean, that was an expensive movie, but they're already making part 2.
Okay.
So but yeah, if you've never seen it, it is absolutely worth watching.
Usually, you have to double the budget in your gross in order to actually start making money.
Yeah, I wonder what the revenue cost that they got for subscribers. Like,
yeah, that would be interesting to see those numbers too. See them figures from HBO.
All right, Mark, what you got? What you got for your number 2?
All right, so as my number 2, actually, it's not a movie, but it's the Witcher season 2.
Okay.
Actually, I just finished that 2 days ago. I just finished season 2 on my first time watching it. We watched it straight through. I've never seen it before, so we started it maybe 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. So you started season 1 and just binged it.
We just binged it. Took us like 3 weeks to watch season 1 and season 2.
Awesome show.
Let's talk about Henry Cavill, man. He's the champion of us nerds, right?
He is. Yeah, he is the alpha. He is the alpha nerd, the apex nerd.
That's Superman, right?
Yeah, he's freaking chiseled like a Greek god, but he's like the biggest nerd ever. He's building computers, and I watched him do an interview, and he's like that lamp looks like something from I don't know, like Dungeons and Dragons or something, and the interviewer is like, what? And he's like, oh no, it was Warhammer. He was
Yeah, that's right. I heard
yeah,
he was in a
he was
Warhammer.
referencing
Yeah.
Warhammer. He's like, that looks just like a something from Warhammer. And the guy's like, what's a Warhammer? And he's like, oh, sorry, nerd shit.
One of us. One of us. One of us.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't
I actually
understand.
subscribe to a few different YouTube channels that talk about Warhammer
Oh,
40k
dude,
lore.
crazy stories.
But yeah, back to The Witcher and Henry Cavill, which we ought to have him on the podcast sometime, especially to talk about The Witcher and his process
Yeah,
I'd be down.
heck yeah.
on playing. I mean, the production on the show, phenomenal. I mean, there are some times where you can tell that it's, you know, not filmed on location, where it's filmed on a set.
Yeah.
But those, if you're not paying too much attention to the setting, then a lot of people won't notice that anyway.
I was just looking at it at face value, and I was blown away.
Yeah, no, it glorious.
Right, right.
For the story. Yeah. And going back to season 1, actually, I actually like the way that where the chronology, the temporal portion of the stories were sort of going back and forth in different episodes where you weren't exactly sure. Like you knew kind of an idea of where you were, but you didn't know when you were and how that
Right.
related to the story.
Now, did you guys play the games or read the books?
I played Witcher 3, and I've read the first 3 books. They were really
I
good.
haven't read any of the books, but I do want to get into the books. I'm reading another book right now, so
Big story. Like you'll find out. Like so, the game's called Wild Hunt,
yeah,
and so in the books you find out what a
I
wild
just-
hunt is. So I mean it.
yeah. And season 2
Yeah,
touches on
yeah,
the
right
Wild
at the
Hunt
end.
a little bit.
And I just,
Yeah,
I see that scene, and I'm like, oh, it's the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Well, no, it's not. But essentially, it's the
which
same
is
thing.
it's a good analogy
Yep, yep.
for the 4 horsemen.
absolutely.
All right, so my second, and I'm going back for nostalgia. All right, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Oh, I was smiling from ear to ear. Man, the Easter eggs that was spread all throughout, the nod to the original Ghostbuster movies.
I have that in a. I made an honorable mentions that didn't make my top 3, and that's my number 1. The respect. Most movies that come back 20 years, 30 years later, they don't have the respect of the original IP, right? They throw in little Easter eggs to try to get you,
Right.
and feel that nostalgic, and then it makes you think that you're gonna like their shitty movie, right?
Like the 2016
2016
version
Ghostbusters. I like that movie. It's fun. I like watching it,
as a
but
standalone.
it's not a Ghostbuster. Yes, they threw in the cameos just to throw them in to get you to say, okay,
Just to
yeah,
get the
it's
Ghostbuster name.
No,
Yeah, just to legitimize it, because of how bad the last Ghostbusters movie did.
yeah.
They couldn't take the risk of doing the same thing.
So it's a respect thing, And Ghostbusters Afterlife, for one, it's made by the damn kid who grew up on the set of the original Ghostbusters movies, right? It's the kid of the director that made this one. Was it Ivan Reitman, right?
I think so.
So it shows the respect of the original series, and it does it well. It gives you the lead up. You don't see ghosts, and stuff right away. I mean, besides for the opening scene, but yeah, yes, and it makes you care for the characters, and that's important. It's yes, there's movies where I just want to shut my brain off and just go watch some crazy sci-fi action movie. And I'm in it for that, right? If I go to a movie like that, I know what I'm going for. Another one of my honorable mentions was Army of the Dead, right, by Zack Snyder on Netflix.
All right.
I went into that expecting just to have fun with the movie. I was not looking.
Army of the Dead, was that the one with Dave Bautista?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I saw that one.
I went in there just to go have fun with that movie. I didn't go in there for Oscar-worthy, story and
Yeah.
performances.
Right. It's a turn your brain off.
Yeah, it's a zombie. Go have fun,
zombie
right?
action movie.
Ghostbusters was
Yeah.
not that. Ghostbusters actually made you care and think about these people and think about the bigger world and what the ramifications and how you're just like, oh my God, You know, you look at the name, the Xandor Mining, and you're like, wait a minute, Xandor, that's the guy who made the building from the first one out of that steel and built that
Yeah.
whole thing on the roof. And you're just like, wait a minute. And throughout the whole movie, you're like, you keep saying that. You're like, wait a minute. Wait, that's that. And in the characters, right? You find out, you know, who the dad is and the grandfather. And like, it just, yes, I agree, Keith. That,
So it had a lot of great world building.
yes.
Yeah. Yep.
They had to build a world that they could expand later on and make you care about the characters now and later, you know, when they come out with another one and now we're following these kids or the stories involving them, you now understand and get that further stuff without us, you know, they could have done it much worse and just been like, oh yeah, you know, this is so and so's grandchild and they're going to be a Ghostbuster now. It's like, well, you know, okay, but
How do they relate to
the
the
way
old crew?
the fact
Well, that and not only how they relate to the old one, but more like have they earned
right.
the right to be a Ghostbuster?
And the best part about this one is they did. They
Not just, you know, oh yeah, there's my grandfather. Like, no, you know, you can be a legacy Ghostbuster and all that stuff, but you know, you still have to earn it.
did you see it, Mark?
No.
Okay. So they finish what was not finished that we thought was finished from the first one. And that's how the kids earn it. They storybook the ending of the story that started with the first Ghostbusters. And you're like, okay, that chapter's complete. The next Ghostbusters movie, I don't need to see, you know, any of the other original actors. You know, yes,
Yeah.
there's stuff in it, and you'll see when you see the movie, Mark, that leads into the next one. But you know, I don't need to see Dan Aykroyd. You know, I don't need to see Bill Murray in the next one. You know, they ended their chapter as Ghostbusters very well, and did Harold Ramis honor on that one. So
Yeah, they did.
it was good. It was really good, and I agree, Keith. Like I said, that's my honorable mention. If I almost made that one my number 3 instead of Zack Snyder's Justice League, but Justice League was a bigger movie.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was just a
It-
bigger movie.
Yeah, it was broad appeal to everybody.
So I agree with that one.
All right, so we're gonna skip to number 3 for the top movies.
Well, we already talked about my all 3.
Yeah,
So
well,
Okay. Go ahead, Keith.
let's go with worst movie. What do you think the worst movie of 21 was?
so I labeled it as biggest disappointments, not worst, because they're not bad. They're
Okay,
just
all right.
not
Biggest-
not what I expected.
Biggest disappointment of 2021. Go.
Godzilla vs Kong.
Dude, that's what I chose too. That is mine.
Coming from me, with surrounded
Yeah, as much as you love
surrounded right
Godzilla.
now by like 100 Godzilla figures all around me right now. That's a big surprise to me. And did you see it, Mark?
Like I said, I didn't see a whole lot of movies last year.
Okay, yeah, they delayed that movie, they postponed it, you know, because of, you know, the whole pandemic thing, but they had more time. They could have fixed this a little bit better. It was so bad. Like you had what's the girl's name for Stranger Things that's in it?
I'll just call her 11.
Yeah, 11. All right, so she's in it, and she played a major part in the last one, Godzilla King of the Monsters. And in this one, you could have cut it out. And actually, there's somebody on YouTube somewhere out there that did this. You can cut her and her friends, all those scenes, completely out of the movie, and it doesn't
And
change
it
a thing.
still makes sense.
Somebody went out there and actually re-edited the movie and cut them out. And I want to find that and watch it because I might like the movie better because all they did was those actors were there to get people to come to the
They
movie.
did the same
That's
thing as
all it was.
Ghostbusters, the 2016 version.
There was they brought no plot, they brought no story, they brought nothing.
It's a cash grab,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
What you're saying is it's taken all of the people that liked King Kong, all of the people that, you know, that like Godzilla, and they just banked on all of those people coming together to see that
they
movie.
thought we
and
cared.
didn't really care about production value
Right.
or story or any
No.
of that stuff.
They thought we cared about those characters, and we did not care about those characters.
Well, yeah, and see that's the thing. As part of monster movies and stuff like that, is not necessarily just caring about the monsters themselves and wanting to be able to see the monsters themselves, but there are also people that are their lives are affected by
Well, I mean,
this.
Well, yeah.
yeah,
Look at every Godzilla movie out there. It doesn't follow Godzilla. It follows usually somebody involved in the story.
my biggest
Yeah.
my biggest complaint about this movie was it was extremely biased against Godzilla.
Yeah, it was not a Godzilla versus Kong. It was Kong versus
It
Godzilla.
was Kong versus Godzilla. Exactly.
And it, real quick before I get into that, I wanted to finish this part. The 2014 Godzilla, the first one that came out, the remake of the legendary MonsterVerse. That movie followed Aaron, or what's that guy's name? The kick-ass actor. It followed him right through this adventure, and you cared about him and his family. Was it the Olsen chick is his wife, right? it followed them, and you cared about what was happening to him as Godzilla was in the background doing all this destruction. The old movies were the same way. You usually followed some crazy character or some person in what they're going through while Godzilla's in the background fighting other monsters.
Mhm.
This movie did not have that. These human characters did not matter. It followed Kong, and this is leading into your point, Keith. It followed Kong and his handler. This was essentially a King Kong movie with Godzilla in it. It was like a sequel to Skull
They
Island.
made Godzilla the antagonist.
Yeah, they made him bad throughout the whole movie. He's like destroying cities and ripping shit apart, and yeah, which is fine. I'm fine with that. But you can't do it's tough to do that when the last movie, the last scene of the last movie, they talk about how he's the hero and the champion of humanity.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And we find out near the end why he's doing it. And it's because they're building Mecha Godzilla, and it's driving him crazy because they keep turning on these sensors that's made out of was it a skull, Keith?
Yeah,
Of one
it
of
was the
his dead
skull
ancestors?
of what was the three-headed Rodan?
Oh, no.
Ghidorah.
Ghidorah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It was the skull of King Ghidorah, and so they hooked it up with all these electronics, and they're using the power that's irradiating from the brain and the skull of King Ghidorah, one of his heads, to control Mecha Godzilla. And so every time they turn it on, that's Monster Zero. It's he's another alpha. It triggers Godzilla, and so he's attacking these cities and destroying them because that's where they're using and testing the parts for Mecha Godzilla, and they're turning it on. So it brings a story into it, but I don't think they did it justice enough they could have explained more of that versus Godzilla's turned against humanity and killed everyone, and then in the end they're like, "Oh, it's because of this," and then they're done.
Oh,
It was
he's
literally
not
like
a bad guy. And and credit.
yeah, they did so bad that there's a fight scene that's going on, and I think where were they? Shanghai with all the neon or something like that.
Yeah, somewhere over there.
I mean, it looked bad, Mark. Like the fire looked like something from some goddamn 1996 PlayStation game in some of the windows, right? Like
It's
some of
terrible
the
CG.
fire looked terrible, and it's like, oh, they must have blown all their budget to get that extra hair on King Kong's ass waved the right direction in the wind. Like it just
Right.
there's a scene where King Kong swinging his arm and it goes straight through a building without destroying it. It just the CG impacted and went straight through the building.
It's like they overlooked it just completely.
And it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like in a video game where the guy's holding a gun and you walk up to the wall and the barrel of the gun goes through the wall, right?
Yeah.
It was like that, and you're
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, this is like a $200 million movie,
And they over.
and you're telling me
Yeah.
nobody noticed that his fist goes straight through a building that looked like a hologram? Like, what? And then, well, I'll go over the next part, but go ahead, Keith. What else you got
Oh
on that?
no, that's it, Mark. I mean, you got Nick and I's.
Well,
What's
yeah.
your biggest disappointment?
Well, let me say one more thing about
I
this.
don't really have.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
One, oh my God, this pissed me off. When I watched the movie, I walked out of that movie and I was like, you're telling me You're telling me that they had to travel to the Antarctic or wherever the hell they went. They had to take Kong on this boat and across this journey and all this stuff to go through this special hole, tunnel, wormhole thing to get to the center of the earth, right? To the new area. And this big journey, and it takes forever. And that hole they go down takes forever. And they have to use special vehicles, right? So a quarter of the whole movie is this whole journey to get there. So you're telling me that Godzilla can sense that they're down there, shoot his atomic breath for like 10 seconds, and drill a perfect hole straight to that center, and look down and see Godzilla there. Or King Kong down in the hole, and then King Kong can just jump up and get right up into the city to start the fight. Like, it's like, wait a minute,
Stupid.
you literally just told us that it's this crazy journey that took half an hour of the movie,
Instead
and now
of
it's
just jumping down a hole, he got a breath fired.
yeah. Instead, he just shoots his atomic breath into the ground and digs a perfectly bored round hole straight to the center of the earth. I'm like, whoa. So
And then King Kong is like, "Eat! I'm just gonna jump up here and start fighting this big dinosaur monster."
I would have liked if they were going to do this. If I was going to do this, right? And you know, I don't mean to shit on other people's parades, but if I was going to do this, I would have done a part 1, part 2. And I would have done the part 1 with Godzilla destroying everything and the Kong journey leading up to the battle at the end. And you can do the scenes like on the ships, right? That everyone saw on the posters on the aircraft carriers, which for one is crazy, but they can do all that, right? Then part 2, we can expand the Mechagodzilla, the lore, right? They didn't even explain the fact that there's an axe made by ancient people and ancient King
No,
Kongs.
it just appeared in the movie.
That's so stupid.
There's an axe made by an ancient civilization of people that live down there, right? Kind of like in the Godzilla movie. Down underwater in that volcano, when they came out, there's that whole city, right, for Godzilla where they worshipped him. They had the big statue of Pazuzu from Exorcist in there and all that, because the director is a big Exorcist fan. Anyway, I want to see that civilization. I want to see more of that, right? So you have a civilization that worshipped Godzilla.
Or at least tease that in the beginning, and then it can pay off later.
That's what I'm saying. If they made it in 2 parts, the first part can explore how they found these cities and these things and give us more lore that way. In part 2, when Kong gets down there and he finds the axe, now we know why it's there. Right? The axe is made from one of the dorsal fins from Godzilla, from another Godzilla, the older one. But it's just weird because he sets the axe down in this like little holder on the ground, and it charges the axe up like it's some plasma weapon. It just made no goddamn sense. They could have, if they would have made it in 2 parts and explained the lore and everything before, it would have made more sense in part 2 to have that fight and explain the axe more and explain some of that stuff. But instead, they crammed it all into
and show rather than tell.
Well, and maybe we're going to get that. So a couple days ago, like 3 days ago, Apple TV acquired the rights for the legendary Godzilla stuff, and they're going to make a series based on the MonsterVerse, explaining, all the stuff. Did either of you see King of the Monsters?
Yeah, with
Keith,
with Godzilla,
with King
Rodan,
Ghidorah
and all of them.
Rodan.
Yeah.
And Geras. So at the end of that movie, how many fucking monsters were around him, right? There was 15 of them as he was standing there roaring?
Yeah, and there were some that weren't even introduced in the movie standing there.
So you've got all those monsters. You're telling me you have monsters the size of a city walking around now.
And
then
by
we
the
get
way,
to this
Kong,
movie.
Kong is nowhere near there. Not in that movie at all.
No, well, no, he ignored it. He ignored because he's an alpha as well. They do explain that in the Godzilla vs. Kong, but not very well. But either way, in this movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, which takes place 6 months or a year after that one or something, where are the other monsters?
Right.
There's
It's only those 2. ever mentioned,
Are you
ever
two-
seen.
They didn't go to the Hollow Earth, right? Hollow Earth was empty except for those like skull crawler things.
Yep.
You tell me they all just went back into hibernation again?
Yeah, and I thought they couldn't ignore the signals if they're not alpha.
When they activated Mecha Godzilla and it turned on the pulse that's pissing off Godzilla, those other monsters should have responded to the alpha
That's
waves.
what I'm saying.
Like that's what they explained in the last movie. So it just, oh man, I'm really disappointed they did so bad with this one. But it made $1 billion or something. So
yeah.
whatever. They're gonna keep making them. That's all right. Whatever. The more Godzilla, the better. Just do it right. Come on. All right, go ahead,
All
Mark.
right, Mark. What's your biggest disappointment?
Okay, so I don't really have a biggest disappointment, but I'm gonna go with my third favorite, which again is another series, actually, not a movie. Squid Games.
Ooh.
Hold on, you were disappointed with
I don't
that?
know if- yes. No. I said I'm not gonna go with a disappointment because I haven't really.
He's given his
I
number
haven't
3.
consumed enough
all right.
media. I'm giving you number 3 of my
Okay,
favorites.
I got it.
Squid Game. And an honorable mention. We can talk about Squid Game here in a minute, but I'll give an honorable mention to The Guilty. It's a Netflix original film with Jake Gyllenhaal,
Ooh, yeah. I haven't.
where he plays the 911 operator.
Yeah, dude.
Give it a watch.
It's on my list. That is on my hit list of
Yeah.
soon to watch because that trailer.
Watch it. It's a
was
really
legit.
good movie. It's a very suspenseful. Yeah, that's the trailer is what got me, and I was just like, you know what, we're just gonna watch this.
Yeah, that was a damn good
And-
trailer because it hooked me too.
I have not
I was
seen
very
it.
surprised. It was
Okay.
a great suspenseful film. Very dramatic suspenseful film. Okay, so that is the honorable mention as far as that. Go back to Squid Game.
Squid Game.
What did you guys think of it?
Yeah.
I was very surprised.
Surprise.
Very surprised at that. And
I too was.
We started
Yeah.
watching it before it got all the fame and glory.
The hype.
Yep. I saw it
Yeah.
on someone had posted it on a TikTok and they were like, this new
Uh-huh.
show just dropped today and look at this crazy scene. And it was the red light, green light.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
and I was like, what is that show? And so I looked through the comments for someone to say, it's a show that just came out today called Squid Game. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go check it out. And so I watched it and I ended up
Yeah.
binging the entire series in like one run, one sit. I was like,
Yeah, we did. We spent a couple days.
I was like, holy shit. Like I couldn't stop. Like I started watching it and Jen was like, what's that? I was like, the Squid Game, look at this. And I showed her that scene, the red light, green light. She's like, ooh. So she like got online, she like Googled it and she's like, oh, you have to watch it in Korean with the Korean titles, not the American version of the captions. The Korean version of the captions. And it changed the whole story. There was so much different between what I watched and in her version of it. But yeah, I thought it was, for being such a simple idea, I thought it was genius how it was done.
Yeah, so a few stats about Squid Game. Let's see, it became the top viewed program in 94 countries. More than 142 million member households and 1.65 billion viewing hours during its first week from launch,
That's insane.
Jesus.
which it broke Netflix records.
Yeah.
Was like, so far it's like the biggest property that Netflix has.
And that guy, the story about that guy that made it too is crazy. It was something like he was gonna quit or he was done with the industry, something like
Are you
that.
talking about
and
the
then
creator of it? The writer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wrote it and directed it. He said he would only sell it if he could direct it too.
Yep.
Something like that.
And then, I saw an article about him talking about how much he was paid from Netflix. And he said, they paid me not knowing that it was going to be a hit. Now that it's a hit, I can't just go back and say, hey, I want more money.
Right. Yeah. See, what he should have done in his contract was actually get a percentage,
Right.
instead of a lump sum sort of
Get
thing.
that Jack Nicholson deal from Batman.
Yeah, where you get a percentage of the gross off the back end.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of good media properties coming out of South Korea because last year wasn't Parasite another South Korean directed movie, the one that won the Oscar? Was it last
It's
year?
I don't
2020,
think
I think that came
I don't
out.
think I saw that one.
2020.
Train to Busan, like man, they've got some, and there's a whole slew of them coming.
Snowpiercer was really good too. The Chris Evans one,
Well,
another South Korean.
yeah, I've been watching the show of that. Have you been watching it?
No,
It's good, dude. With Jennifer Connelly, it expands it further. They're on their like third season. It's good.
All right. So we got movies down. What about an upcoming movie? What do you guys have for upcoming that you guys are excited about?
Well, I actually made a list of what's coming in 2022. So this is nowhere near like a very comprehensive list, but let me just run down I'm just going to list off a chunk of,
No.
of movies.
No, just give us your top two. Just give us your.
The Batman. Got to be the Batman. I mean, I'm so excited for that. The second one is a tie between The Flash, where I get to see Michael Keaton as Batman in the suit again, or Jurassic World Dominion, just because,
Man,
it's Jurassic
I
Park. I love it.
lost the story of that. They started coming out with so many of them.
What?
The new Jurassic Park movies.
Hey, they've only got two.
yeah. I mean, there's not that many of
There's
them. Not
more
compared to the DCU, which I'm completely lost on.
There's
that.
more Star Wars sequels than there is Jurassic Park.
Maybe I'm
Yeah.
just getting the names confused. I don't know.
It goes Jurassic Park Lost World, Jurassic Park 3. Then you have Jurassic World, Jurassic
Yeah,
World
and
Fallen
Jurassic
Kingdom.
World.
Maybe it's just too many worlds.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is the last one, and then this is Dominion, which is the last. It's the sixth one, but it's also got the original cast in it and the new cast together.
Original, like Goldblum and everybody.
Yeah, dude. Sam Neill, Laura Dern, they're all back. So you're getting Ellie Sadler, Alan Grant, all of them.
Samuel L. Jackson, they bringing him back,
Mm,
or did he die in the first
yeah,
one? I think he died in the first.
yeah.
one.
He lost his arm and got eaten by a
Hold on to your
raptor.
butts.
Actually, they just released an action figure of him, and it has a removable arm with a bloody stump.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and Keith, I agree with you. It seems like there's way too many like big tentpole film properties out there that some people like. First of all, there's no way that unless you're going multiple times a week, there's no way people are going to be seeing all of these movies.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the last movie that I saw actually was the last movie that I saw in theaters was No Way Home. Before that, I hadn't seen a movie in theaters since 2019,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. What do you have for upcoming, Mark? What are you excited about?
I'm excited about the new Jurassic World.
Hell yeah.
Not and beyond that, I haven't really looked ahead at anything that's coming out this year. I wasn't very impressed with the Batman trailer.
See, the guy who makes
So
it,
I'm not sold on that one. Yeah.
the director that makes it,
And I'm just
mm,
I'm burned out on superheroes.
I can see
I
that.
can see why. Yeah.
20,
It's been nothing.
2022 is not going to be a good year for you because there's like 20 of them coming out this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Keith, the reason why they keep making these Jurassic Park movies, so Jurassic World had a budget of $150 million, and it made 1.6, almost 1.7 billion
Oh, I
worldwide.
can understand. They're getting to
Yeah.
they're getting to Fast and
Gangbusters.
Furious status.
Dude, it's Universal's like biggest. It's one of their
Oh my
biggest
God.
money bringers.
Fast and Furious needs to stop. That needs
yeah.
to
That
end.
will never end because
Getting
they
too-
make $1 billion.
getting too
It's a
They
billion
make
every
$1
movie.
billion. Yep,
It's too ridiculous.
All right.
they make $1
Just
billion.
stupid.
So I'm gonna say,
It's just stupid.
yeah.
It's not even about driving cars anymore.
No, it's about family. Come on, man. Hashtag family.
Family.
Get with any beer you want, as long as it's a Corona.
Right.
All right. So I'm looking forward to Batman, but I'm also looking forward to X. I don't know if you guys have heard of it or not.
Nope.
Okay, that comes out in what, June?
I believe so. Yeah. So it's made by the same distributor as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Yeah.
and it from the trailer that I saw, it's got that same vibe too.
Yeah, it looks pretty crazy.
And I saw the trailer. I was like, it's got Kid Cudi in it. I don't know if you guys know him or not, the rapper or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's about a group of friends that want to go make an adult film, and they find a set out in the middle of nowhere, renting this barn from this old couple, and there's something wrong with the old couple. They just went ape shit. So definitely get some Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes in it, and
Yeah, I saw the trailer. It was
it's
crazy.
shot with, like, the old cameras, I guess. So it's got the graininess to the film.
It's designed to look like an old 70s movie.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
You looking forward to that? Like, because that shows that it came out in like 2019 on
That's
IMDb.
different one.
This is
Or-
Scott Ramsey is the director.
Or it was a limited release and they're releasing, like it was a. I saw it's on the release schedule for this year, so I wonder
yeah, the-
if it's a theatrical release now.
The name of the movie is just
Mm.
X. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally, I'm on the IMDb page right now, and it's saying it's X. It was 2019 with Scott Ramsey as the director.
Let's see.
Everything.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
Oh no,
maybe
no,
it
no,
is
no.
re-released.
That's a different one.
That's complete.
He's talking about the Ty West is the director of this one.
Oh, okay.
Type in X 2022, and you'll get it.
You realize
Got
there are
Breaking
that
Snow
many
and-
movies titled X.
Yeah. So Keith, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, the last one, made $1.3 billion.
Yes, please.
Yeah, they're making money, man. They're gonna keep making those movies.
Yeah, I believe it.
What's coming out this year? You've got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the animated one, the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Any of you guys watch that trailer?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, did you watch?
I didn't see the first one.
Oh my god, dude, you gotta watch the first one. It's on Netflix. You gotta watch Spider-Man
Into the Spider.
Into the Spider-Verse, dude.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I like the art style.
Yeah,
that they
man,
did with that.
exactly. So this is the sequel to that. That's coming out this year. You've got the Batman, Black Adam, Jurassic World 2, Hocus Pocus 2.
Oh, so excited for that. I have such high hopes.
So that's another one that's like 30 years later,
I'm
but they have
telling
the
ya,
original cast.
I do not
ori-
want that to be on my biggest disappointment list.
Yeah, they have the original cast, the original writers, the original directors,
Everybody.
and Bette Midler would not come back. They've been trying for years to do this, like 10 years, and she would not come back unless the script made sense and honored the first one. And they were able to get all the people back, and they agreed on the script, and they said, yes, this is an okay sequel to the first one. So that
I don't like the way you
they've
put
been-
that. This is an okay
An
sequel.
okay sequel.
well, what I mean is they said that it's
It is okay. It is mediocre.
it's they're very protective of the IP, and so it had to hit all those little boxes in order to get it made. And yeah, they fought for Disney's been fighting this for a long
So
time
this one,
to do it.
This one checks all the boxes.
Yep. You've got Top Gun Maverick, which got pushed from last year to this year.
I'm not as
that's
excited for that one.
Sequel to that one. I think
I'm not excited for sequels. I mean,
this is a year for sequels, bro. Definitely, because you got Avatar 2 comes out this year. The new
don't care.
the new Thor, The Love and Thunder's coming out this year. Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness is coming out this year. Aquaman 2, Fantastic Beasts 3, Morbius is coming out. Uncharted is coming
Morbius.
out.
What is that?
Morbius looks pretty good.
What, Keith?
Morbius looks pretty
What
good.
is that?
Oh, yeah.
Morbius.
That's the. Well, go ahead, Mark. You can tell him who he is.
It's one of Spider-Man's foes, the vampire.
Oh,
The living
okay,
vampire.
okay. So it's the
Jared-
yeah.
spin-off of it.
Jared Leto, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they're doing like kind of like the Venom thing,
Hold on.
yeah.
where
Hold
they're
on.
giving Morbius his own
So
movie.
Jared Leto's going to be Morbius now?
It's Marvel, not DC.
I know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
not
It's
DC.
just blowing my mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's not a huge talent pool
That's true. That's true.
of leading actors in Hollywood, so
That's true.
Yeah.
you're going to get a lot of crossover.
Yep. So you've got that. You've got Uncharted movies coming out with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. You've got the Minecraft.
Video game movies rarely do well.
Yeah. Well, you've got the Minecraft movie coming. You've got Sonic 2 coming. You've got that has Knuckles.
I didn't even see the
just-
original one.
Dude, the original one was good, man.
All I saw was like the backlash over how Sonic looked, and then
Well,
they fixed it.
I think, so that actually, I think, was a way for them to drum up attention for the film. I think they planned it that way. They intentionally released a shitty picture of the Sonic, and then they already had the corrected one, because they would have spent, hundreds of thousands of dollars to have to reanimate
Right.
a lot of portions of Sonic and all that stuff. So I think that was just a ploy
well,
by the studio
Well, it
to do
worked.
that, to get engagement.
well,
Get people.
and here's the thing. So when they released the original Sonic thing and they did that, they did delay the movie. Like 12 months. It was almost a year they delayed it to reanimate.
Yeah, but I think they did that intentionally, though. I don't think they reanimated anything. I think they delayed it just to give themselves more time to build up the hype and all that stuff. They're not going to sit there and waste hundreds of thousands, to millions of dollars to reanimate all this stuff.
Paramount said that it cost them $5 million in 4 months to change the look of Sonic, according to their
I don't know.
investors.
I've heard rumors. I've heard rumors. There's talk on the internet about that all just being a marketing ploy.
And it could
just for
be.
engagement.
It worked.
They did a good job
That
with
movie made money.
Get people talking about it, and then and then to not only just get people talking about it, but also um, making it so that they think that the studio listened to them.
Right.
Well, and look at what.
their feedback.
So that happened. I mean, look at, again, with Zack Snyder's Justice League. Look how long that online. It was like 4 years of online just berating on Twitter and social media and all that to Warner Brothers of release it. We know it exists. Release it. And it worked. How many times have you seen where they've changed the look of a character, and said, okay, the fans win, that or released another version of a movie. That shit doesn't happen.
I've only
unless
seen
it's
it done twice,
pre-planned.
and that's Justice League and
Oh,
Sonic.
it happens. I mean, it happens. No, it happens all the time.
Well, you've got-
directors always have director's cuts.
Well,
they always have,
and that's what I was
the
gonna
stuff
say.
that was cut for theatrical releases. The director always has they bring their finished product to the studio, and then the studio chops it up for time and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time. You look at
Blade
Francis Ford Coppola's fucking director's cut of the Godfather trilogy and
Look at-
Apocalypse Now.
Look at Blade
All that
Runner
shit happens. That's all. Yeah, Blade Runner has 3 different cuts.
or more.
Yeah, at least 3 major cuts.
But what I'm talking about is where that is a designed plan for the director to release a cut. Zack Snyder's version was never intended to be released. It cost them, $30-40 million and had to bring back actors to shoot scenes to do that director's cut 5 years later. They don't do that shit. That's too expensive. The Sonic thing, whether it was a ploy or not, still that's, you don't hear very often where that goes and, goes over well,
Yeah.
with that. And so, well, we're getting a Sonic 2 now. And Idris Elba is playing Knuckles, which is awesome. I'm a big fan of Idris Elba.
Yeah, he's done really well.
Yeah, actually, from what I heard, he's also in the conversation for possibly playing the new Bond.
I think he would make a great Bond.
I've been telling people for years that if Daniel Craig gets out of there, Idris Elba needs to be freaking James Bond. It's just I don't know if they've waited too long. Is he going to be an older Bond? Because these Bonds now, they're action flicks. They're not like the old ones. The old ones weren't as actiony. It was more spy.
Yeah, they were more spy and more talky.
Yeah, and Casino Royale was kind of like that. But then they turned into these giant action blockbusters, and it's just, if you get Idris Elba in there, he's only gonna be able to do a couple. I mean, shit, the dude, he's getting up there.
Yeah.
You got Lego Batman 2, Super Mario World, Batgirl, and The Division coming this year.
The Division,
which
like
based
the
on
game.
with Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah,
It's off the,
yeah.
Oh, I'm
Jake
down for that.
Jake Gyllenhaal's gonna be in it.
I might watch.
All right. Well, since we're talking about games, what do you guys have for the top game?
Halo Infinite for me.
Okay, I could definitely see why.
I've put so many hours into that.
I mean, coming from a Halo 2, which was my last Halo that I played, Infinite is just it. I can't explain how happy I was with it.
It's good. I'm excited for them to release the co-op campaign coming up soon. Because Mark and I went through Halo 5 on Legendary. Oh my god, that game whooped our ass.
That was a rough one.
But this one, I wanna get in and play some co-op as well, because the campaign in this one is awesome. It's all open world. You can get in a Wasp or a Banshee and fly, 5,000 meters, 6,000 meters to the other side of the Halo that you're on.
Yeah.
You can go from side to side. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Mark, what do you have?
I mean, the only thing that came out last year that I even bought was the GTA Definitive Collection, which was a kind of a nostalgia trip, but also a bit of a disappointment to me as well.
Was it?
Yeah.
I heard that they had issues like bugs. They've been having to do
It
patches.
did have bugs, but I think and they'll patch all that stuff out. They're gonna patch stuff out as it kind of goes along. Maybe if they even continue to support the title.
Yeah.
But one of the disappointments, obviously, it was great to get back into. It was mainly San Andreas that I've been playing. Because that was my favorite GTA of all time.
You riding your bike to build up your leg muscles?
Yeah. But it was kind of a disappointment to find out that that they actually used the mobile port.
Yep. I was just
version
gonna
of
say that.
GTA of all three of the GTA games, the mobile ports. And I was kind of disappointed in that instead of using, one of the console versions or the PC version.
Yeah. You're not the only one, dude. Like there was a massive, mass disappointment over that. That the way that they treated that beloved, property was.
Well, I like what they did with the graphics updates and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people were pissed off about certain characters looking different than they did, which I didn't really mind that much.
Yeah.
It was just if you're gonna use, if you're gonna call this the GTA Definitive Edition, then it needs to be based off of your best performing, best looking versions of the game. Give it an update for control and all that stuff.
I agree.
And give it an update, cool things. Obviously make it look prettier and all that stuff. Your your background, your buildings and stuff like that. They look great. You know, the graphical upgrades that they did was awesome. But yeah, if it's going to be the definitive edition of a game,
Definitive.
Then
then
it has to
make
be
it the
definitive.
best. Yeah, it has to be definitive. And the mobile ported versions, porting back to consoles and
Unacceptable.
PC, is not your definitive
Yeah.
edition.
Yeah.
So
You're not the only one voicing that.
I got Halo is a top, but also Hell Let Loose.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
dude.
released
They
on Xbox in 2021. That's why I included it in this list. But it is
I
the
booted it up
best.
last night.
It's the best true tactical game that I've seen, and I haven't
Realistic.
played Insurgent or anything like that before. So I'm basing it only off of this and Call of Duty and
Insurgency is more
Battlefield.
arcadey. It's more Call of Duty. It's not. Hell Let Loose is a true mill sim. Like, oh my god, dude, it's so fun. And yeah, it's bugged. It's got glitches, but they every patch they do fixes a little bit more, and it's whoo, it makes you sweat.
Yeah, yeah. So I got
Those
that.
firefights. I hear you. I've also got It Takes Two on there. That's the one I've been telling you guys to.
I
It's a
know.
co-op. You know.
I've got yet to play it.
Oh my god, dude! It, Mark. It's one that you can play side by side with Shelby, either on the same system or you can play across two. But it's a co-op arcade game or like platformer, right? It's not a shooter. It's a adventure game, and it's two parents that are fighting, getting a divorce, and the little girl makes a wish that they could stay forever the way they are, and so they get shrunken into toys. And one plays the husband, one plays the wife, and you guys have to work together through all of these challenges to get back up into the house and figure out how to get turned back into humans. And the co-op on it is just it's smart. It's probably one of the most fun games that I've played probably in the last 4 or 5 years. Like it just Jen and I went through the entire game in like 2 days. Like we spent hours just it was so much fun. We're laughing and joking because it was funny and the adventures in it and
So I want to play it.
great.
I want to play it with Jess. The problem is she gets motion sickness, and I think that game moves around too much.
I don't know. Mm, it's worth playing and Mark, boot it up and uh you play with Shelby because it is damn good. It's just fun, and it's not a shooter. It's a adventure. I was talking with the creators. I was messaging them through Twitter, and they were messaging back, and they've been winning game of the year awards like in all these countries and all these different areas. Like they've been winning all these massive awards. And Jen and I just started their game that came out before that, which is called A Way Out, and this one's very mature. You're two prisoners in prison, and you have it's like the Escape from Alcatraz with Clint Eastwood, and you guys have to like work with each other and to like steal stuff from the prison so you can
Yeah,
plan your
I've
escape.
seen some gameplay of that. Yeah,
And it's
You have
very
to-
mature
you have to
rated. Like
rock and roll, yeah.
the beginning scene, you're walking through and they're hosing you down and delousing you, and his giant, Dick Grayson is just hanging out, so they're dropping F-bombs and they're showing all sorts of stuff in there, but it's the same thing. You guys have to work together to like there's a cool part where the two characters get into a prison fight and you keep bouncing between, so like it'll tell like Jen to hit X and then I have to hit like Y. So we have to time them. So I'm like, all right, hit it, hit it, hit it. Like we're timing things and it's cool. So It Takes Two is it's one of the most fun games I've ever played, and I think you guys would enjoy the
I've seen some
co-op
gameplay
part of it. It's really good.
So I'm excited about the Minecraft 1.9 Wild update, where they
Oh
do
yeah.
Deep Dark with the wardens and stuff like that. So that's something that's on my radar for this year.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't have any.
Going back to Minecraft survival.
Yeah, I don't have too many games that I'm super stoked for this year. Maybe Hellblade 2 if it comes out this year. Um, I'm just excited for uh really it'll take a couple of years for this to come in, but that Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard
That's what I'm
with what it
excited
means for
for.
what it
Yeah,
means for
so let's go ahead and talk about that then.
you
Let's
know it,
just go ahead and.
what it means for Call of Duty, right? So
Mhm.
Sony's been putting out some very bullyish statements of we hope Microsoft will honor deals and we hope Microsoft will continue to release
No.
plays,
It's not we hope. It's we expect Microsoft.
yeah, yeah,
They will. They will.
they'll, they'll honor all the deals, but once those agreements are done, what I'm thinking is, because again, Microsoft is here for their stuff, and when they did the Bethesda deal for like $8 billion or $7 billion, the same thing happened. They're like, we expect them to, release these games, and all the Sony fans are like, oh, they'll keep, was it Elder Scrolls, they'll keep Starfield, they'll keep Diablo, they'll keep all that stuff multi-platform, and no, they didn't. All that shit went exclusive. Call of Duty being the largest game franchise in the world, I'm assuming, my guess would be, not assumption, but my guess would be that they're going to put, they'll keep Warzone free to play, multi-platform, and you'll just have to, if you want the main campaign and main multiplayer part, I think that's what will be exclusive.
Yeah, I'm excited to actually get some exclusives now.
Sony paid for it.
Sony has been getting nothing but exclusive this and exclusive that. I'm ready. Where's mine?
Well,
Where's mine?
Xbox used to be that way before Sony did it.
Well, yeah, I
Microsoft,
mean, with the Halo series.
well,
That's the
I'm
biggest
talking about just,
Xbox exclusive.
yeah, I'm just talking about Call of Duty in general. I mean, it's uh Xbox used to get all the exclusive content, early releases, all that stuff. And then Sony put up millions of dollars to buy all that exclusivity for a certain amount of time. So like there's a game mode in Modern Warfare that we never even got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
still can't
exclusive
play
to
it.
Sony.
Yeah.
All that's ending. So once that deal's up, I assume that
I
they're
don't
not
know.
going to breach that contract.
I don't think that they're going to do that, and I think my opinion on it is what I think Microsoft is going to do is focus less on their hardware and more on their software. So, like we were
Absolutely.
talking about the other day, it doesn't matter nowadays with cross-platform play on the major AAA games like Call
Spider-Man,
of Duty.
Halo.
It doesn't matter which console you're on. You can play with everybody on consoles and PCs. And I think that's obviously the big thing, the big push that the games industry has been trying to push towards is it doesn't matter what hardware you're playing it on, you're going to be able to do cross-platform play. And I think that's what Microsoft wants to focus on. I mean, it's in the name, right? Microsoft. They're software based, not hardware based. They've never been hardware based. There's and a lot of their hardware that they've released in the past didn't really even do so well. Xbox is their best hardware. You had the Windows Phone that flopped. That was a huge bomb.
Yeah.
The Zoom did kind of okay, but it just couldn't compete with the iPod.
Yeah. If it's not a Surface or an Xbox, it doesn't do well.
Yeah. So I think that's what Microsoft is going to do. I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot of exclusivity as far as Xbox is concerned. I think it's going to just be for every unit of PlayStation that gets sold, people are going to want to buy Call of Duty. So Microsoft is still going to get their money in the end when it comes to the IPs that they and the development studios and the publishing studios that make the games. It doesn't matter about the hardware. Microsoft is going to make money on the back end when it comes to the actual software, when it comes to the properties itself, regardless of whether they sell X amount of Xboxes or not. You know, Sony still dominates in the console game. Sony and Nintendo both still dominate in the console game over Xbox, but Microsoft is going to make its money selling the software or licensing the software in the games.
Yeah, so for crossplay, you know, Sony's not a big crossplay person, right? We know that. They don't like it. They want you to only play the games on their system with their system. They for crossplay games, I don't know if you guys know, but they charge a fee to the developer if they're going to do crossplay. They make the developer pay money, a percentage. If they say if you're going to allow this game to be played outside of our ecosystem, there's a fee associated to that, and they have to pay it.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, they also so here's a big difference between the way they run their businesses, Microsoft, Sony. So Microsoft is huge on indie development games, right? Their Game
Yeah,
Pass
but
and
yeah, I mean
their
they
store.
bought Minecraft, you know,
Yeah,
which
they've
is
got
the biggest independent development,
yeah.
biggest performing, independent developed game of all time.
They've got a game coming out called Tunic, which is made by one person. It's like a Zelda game but with a fox. This guy's been making this game by itself forever, and Microsoft's like, here, we'll give you, we'll help you out with it. And it's just they're big on independent developers. They want small
Yeah.
people to
Oh,
make
and
great
well, because
games.
they want to make great games, right? Exactly. That's
And
Microsoft wants to focus on the software portion, not the
yep,
hardware portion.
yep. And when they release, they pop them into the store. They'll say, "Hey, here's all the great releases from this day or this week." And Sony does not. So Sony charges $25,000 to these developers, these small
To be
developers.
able to develop it for the PlayStation.
No, to just put it in the store.
Oh,
They
shit.
charge them
Wow.
$25,000
So they
to be
first
featured
they
in the
have to
store.
buy. So first
Yep,
they have to buy the developer pack to be able to develop on
which is super expensive.
PlayStation.
Microsoft will
Yeah,
send it to you. Sony, you have to buy. Then you have to
yeah,
put all your money in to make the game and all
yeah.
that stuff. Yeah, it's a
And
huge
then you
different
have to
world.
list it for $25,000.
Yeah, huge difference in the way that they do it. And so, one of the big things, one of my there's a couple franchises on Sony that I absolutely love, right? God of War
Mm-hmm.
is one of them.
Mhm.
But they just released God of War on PC. So now in Steam. So now I can go
Mm-hmm.
and play God of War with my Xbox controller on the
Yeah,
PC.
yeah.
Um the other is you remember Spider-Man 2 on Xbox? I know you do, Mark.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Dude,
I
you
played
know
the
how many
shit out of
hours
it,
we spent fucking
bro.
cruising the
Just
city, just not
yeah,
even
just
playing the
web
game?
slinging. Yeah, just web slinging. Yeah.
So the studio that made that is Insomniac. They're the ones who make that
The
game
random
for
encounters.
oh yeah. That plays that game, that makes the game for PlayStation. And I
Yeah.
understand. Sony owns Spider-Man. They own the IP. They own the
Yeah.
license.
They own the license. Yeah, the game licenses.
But all the Sony fans are in this massive
And
uproar
Sony.
saying Xbox is bad because they're going to make these games exclusive to their system. When
Yeah.
If Sony would have bought Activision, it would have all gone immediately exclusive. You would have never heard another thing
Exactly.
about it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That it's the difference in the way they do their businesses.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, I really, 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 really fucking want to play that Spider-Man game. And I hope that they release it on PC so I can play it.
Yeah.
God of War is the first one that they've released, which I would have never thought that they would have allowed that to go off of a PlayStation. But
Yeah, it's
That's one of their
it's a huge
biggest
franchise,
things. So
Yeah.
I hope Spider-Man does so I can play it. But it Spider-Man used to be on Xbox. All of them were.
Yeah.
And even back then, Sony still owned Spider-Man. Sony had the PlayStation 3, we had the 360. They had the PS2, we had the Xbox. Spider-Man was on both, and they sold out all the time on both systems.
Yeah.
So why not make something like that, which they know that they would double their
Again,
sales?
yeah, you're making you're making money off of selling the software units, the licensing to play those games and stuff, regardless of what hardware you're playing it on. They're still making money because, people are buying.
Exactly. And so that's the differences in these business styles of how they're done. Microsoft's like, look, we understand, get this. So Game Pass, right? Game Pass is huge. They just hit 25 million subscribers.
Yeah.
I get all of those games, and we no longer have to buy another Call of Duty. I play Halo on my phone when we're in the car or when we're out somewhere. I have a feeling that what they're going to try to do is they're going to say, "Hey, we can keep all these things multi-platform. We can do all of that. Here's how it's going to work. You allow us to put the Game Pass app on. You continue to keep selling all your PlayStations, maybe even more now, because
Yeah.
we don't care about the hardware sales.
Right, exactly.
You just put the Xbox app on there, and now your PlayStation people have access to hundreds of games.
Yeah, that they would
Now,
not have been able to play.
that would keep PlayStation players from going out and having to buy an Xbox to play Halo, Call of Duty, Elder Scrolls, Starfield, Doom, like any of those that now Microsoft now owns all of that. Right? So that would be the biggest play is to do, because in Game Pass they
The
have
big dick move.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that's what they're looking for right now, man. They took that Cialis. They're just warming up.
Yeah.
The in Game Pass you have what is it? The EA Play is in there now,
Yeah.
right? So you get all the EA games.
All those
that
terrible EA sports games that don't change year by
yeah.
year.
Well, but they have the Battlefields, they have the Star Wars games,
The
they have
Sims. Yeah.
all that stuff. But
Yeah.
Ubisoft is about to launch theirs too, and they think that's going into Game Pass as well. So then you got that. Epic is working on theirs, which means the Epic games. Microsoft's going to want them to put that into Game Pass, right? So now Game Pass is going to become the GameFly or Netflix of video games. And so if you can take that and drop that into a PlayStation app, man, now we're talking, those people never have to leave their system and they get access to everything. I mean, that's I'd have to imagine that conversation is happening somewhere in Microsoft.
Oh yeah.
Trying to
Yeah,
figure
I
out
mean,
how to
well,
play this.
even outside of games and media and stuff like that, everything is going to a subscription service because subscription services are making the games industries and the media industries so much money that
Well, I mean, my Game Pass, I pay $14.99 a month, and that's for Game Pass Ultimate and Xbox Live. So it gets both of them. I get it with the Ultimate. I get all the streaming on my phone, and I get all the PC stuff on my computer. So I get all the PC games too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just a ton of stuff. I've been playing Age of Empires 4 like crazy on my PC. An old, RTS. Didn't we used to play that on the Xbox, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been playing Warcraft 2 actually on my PC a lot recently. From
Nice.
I don't know if y'all have heard of GOG.com.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
They're like game internet or like their internet game archive for like really old games and stuff like that. I'm sure you can probably find Red Alert and stuff like that on there too. So I've been playing a lot of Warcraft 2, Tides of Darkness.
We've got Command and Conquer. I think Red Alert too.
What was that site?
GOG.com. It's it's a lot like Steam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I've got Red Alert on Game Pass actually on the PC.
Yeah, that was a great game.
But that's the next thing, right? Microsoft now owns all of that. So all of that shit's going to be coming to Game Pass. World of Warcraft, you're not going to have to pay a separate subscription to play World of Warcraft now. You'll be able to just hop in through your Game Pass.
Yeah.
You've got, I mean, all of those. Diablo, right? They got Diablo 4 coming, which I've played all the Diablos. Those are amazing games. That's coming now. I mean, it's a major acquisition. Overwatch, Major League Gaming, I believe, was owned by them. So, I mean, it's just a massive deal. I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't
it's
make
gonna be
them,
huge.
it still doesn't make them the largest video game publisher. Sony still is above them when it comes to software. But what people don't realize, like people are getting angry at Microsoft, but what they don't realize is Sony's been doing the same thing. They've been buying up
Oh, they've
companies
been
left
doing it
and
for
right.
years. Yeah.
The only difference is they don't have the cash fluidity that Microsoft does to make a $70 billion purchase in cash, right?
Yeah.
So, but all of those studios that Sony's been buying has been making them go exclusive. All those games are exclusive. And a lot of them, like I said, Spider-Man with Insomniac, the technology that is in Spider-Man that they used to make that game came from a game called Sunset Overdrive, which is an Xbox One exclusive only
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. That came
Right?
out when the Xbox One was first release.
Yeah.
Didn't do that good.
No, but
Honestly.
it's a really fun game though. It's in Game Pass. It's really fun. But Microsoft paid to develop that technology to make that game, right? They gave money to do that. And now that technology is making Spider-Man for Sony. It's crazy.
I think it's coming full
But like I
circle.
said, yeah, like I said, they just dropped God of War last week on PC. And so I have hopes that they're going to release Spider-Man on PC. And that if they do, I'm all about it. I'll play it on PC. I really want to play it, and I'm going to play God of War. So it Sony's realizing they have to do more to get more games out there. They got to sell more software. They can't sell the systems, right? They don't have enough still. They actually just announced that they're making PS4s again. They have to go back and start making them again because they don't have enough systems, right? Microsoft just announced that they're stopping Xbox One sales and manufacturing because the Xbox One Series S is available readily through almost every store now. So they're like, hey, why do we keep selling a competition to our Series S when it's only like, I don't know, $100 or $50 difference or something? They're like, why don't we just get ready for this and just make the Series S now the entry level?
Right.
So,
And that's what I play on. There's nothing wrong with it,
the only difference is the 4K.
Yeah, and I don't need 4K to play a game.
No, I mean I play my Xbox on a 4K 60 hertz. I'd love a 4K 120, but I am not dropping, $1,800 to get those extra frames. It doesn't make that big of a difference. I'd rather the game play good and smooth and look good versus all that. My PC gaming, my Alienware laptop is a 1080p, but it's a 240 hertz, so I can play the games with a higher refresh, but only in 1080p, and I have no issues whatsoever with any of that.
Yeah.
So,
all right,
get a Series S. Well, that's our show for today. Thank you guys for joining us. You can follow me at what the fuck's my Twitter? Oh, PCK _ Nickzilla. Keith, where can we find you?
Follow me on Twitter at PCK _ Keith.
And Mark, are we going to get one set up for you as well, or do you want to just drop something else? Whatever you want.
Good talk, bro.
We lost Mark. Maybe he's pooping.
Yo, sorry. A buddy of mine gave me a call. So, as far as how to reach out to me, just probably find me on Facebook at Mark Becker II.
Perfect. All right, guys. So that was our show. And Join us next week where we are going to talk about some more pop culture kicks to your head. Have a good one.
Or don't.
Or don't. Fuck it.
The choice is yours.
Have a shitty day if you want to.
What is the most unattractive male first name in the English language?
What you just said, Keith, is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Most of all, fuck you!
That's all, folks.